Yo, welcome to the show. This is episode 3.
What's the point?
How you guys doing? Welcome to your favorite show, What's the Point? You're now tuned in with STS and the one and only Chris Park. Today, we're going to be talking about the Music Bus Bill, right? And really what that is, what that includes, right? Really, the Music Bus Bill is a collection of laws and policies set in place to create a fair marketplace for songwriters and publishers and just creators really generally in the music industry. So really just moving it along in a progressive manner, right, and updating those laws. So the Music Bus Bill, what's the point? What's the point of it? What's in it? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one we're seeing a lot because it just came out recently is the Music Modernization Act that just passed through Congress pretty recently through the Senate, so that's pretty big. That has a couple of packages in it. It's got the AMP Act. It's got the Songwriters Equity Act included in it. It's going to help to raise mechanical royalty rates. It's going to help to set a fair market limit for royalty rates. And it's going to help to ultimately create a legitimized marketplace for the music industry where we don't have screw-ups like what happened with the Spotify lawsuit and what's happened kind of in an underlying fashion because of just missing infrastructure, right? For the longest time, the major labels have basically written their own laws for the industry. It's mostly remained ungoverned up until this point. You know what I mean? And it's created almost a monopolistic feel that the record labels own us, right? And it's always kind of been that us versus them mentality in the industry, and now we're finally able to break out of that. And as independent musicians, we're able to finally really control our own destiny, right? So I think the point that we're seeing with these acts that are coming through now is an infrastructure that's being laid down and legal framework that's allowing for legitimate business to take place within the music industry that's legally governed.
Yeah.
And that's the important part about this is that it's legally governed through the U.S. government, so that we don't have mistakes like what happened. The reason that Spotify's been sued, 3-4 times now?
Right, the law's outdated.
Right.
You know? Because when you look at all the acts that are included in the Music Bus Bill, the MMA, the Music Modernization Act, you got the Fair Play, Fair Pay Act, you got the AMP Act, you got the Classics Act. I don't even know, I think the Songwriters Equity Act is thrown in there, you know, like just a lot of these different acts going around in order to create that fair marketplace for songwriters and publishers that can't exist without the law being updated, because what will happen is the technology, which is already happening, is outrunning the law, which creates barriers and gatekeepers and restricts innovation and inventions from taking place, which scares away money and investors, because what will happen, this is what will happen, right, when all these bills get passed, is it'll create a much more sustainable and predictable economy that investors and capitalists can trust their money with.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, the biggest point is now we can actually start to see institutional investors start coming and being brave with innovation in the music industry. For the longest time, it's been
crazy lucrative opportunities.
Really difficult for startups.
Exactly.
If the record labels don't support you, then you're not going to be able to do much. You may operate for a few years, and you're going to go out of business quick. And that's the case that we've seen over and over and over and over again in the music industry. Again, do a quick Google search. Music industry companies bankrupt. There's dozens of them out there. So now with laws being updated, we can start to see innovation start to really take place. Now we get to see, I'm excited to see the next 5 years of music business and what these companies are going to do. Especially 100%. Now we have, like the blockchain technology. We have all these different streaming services now. We're going to have a lot of different cool ways for artists to connect to fans and for fans to connect to ultimately other fans and sharing music. This industry is about to blow up huge. It's completely undervalued as a whole right now. I think if you could invest in the music industry, now would be the time because it's only going to grow. The Music Modernization Act is probably the biggest one that just went through, and that's an exciting thing. Hopefully we can see more things follow that. We're starting to see more IPOs. With Spotify's IPO, we saw Tencent Music from China's IPO. We're going to start seeing more music industry IPOs like that. The music industry is really coming out in the spotlight as a valuable commodity, and it's heavily traded. And now we're going to start to see the value really come to fruition here. And that's the point. The point is we're musicians, and we run a business, and now we have an infrastructure to build a business on.
Exactly. You can't run a business with outdated laws because then nobody's going to follow them, and then you end up with lawsuits.
Right. Go read about it more on streamersinternational.com. We have some detailed blogs and articles in there that you can read up on, study, do your research, know the laws, because ultimately that's how you're going to turn your music into money. And that's what it's all about here, right? We want to make a business out of this product, and we're here to teach you how. All right, so stay tuned. What's the point?
It's a favorite show.
Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're having those notifications come in, and make sure you watch the next one. We'll be out here. All right.
We'll be here tomorrow. I see you.